We begin today's wrestling news and rumors video with a big update regarding Sasha Banks, and more so regarding Sasha Banks' return to WWE that has become highly anticipated. As some of you are likely aware, there had been rumors that Sasha Banks would have returned on this past week's edition of Friday Night SmackDown, but surprisingly Sasha Banks was nowhere to be seen, despite there being a clear reason for Sasha Banks to return, to set her sights on Bianca Belair's SmackDown Women's Championship after Bianca's title match against Carmella. However, despite the concern from fans regarding when Banks will be coming back, it has been reported as of this morning that Sasha Banks will be making her return to WWE on the August 13th edition of Friday Night SmackDown, which will take place in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Now this is definitely good news for Sasha Banks' fans, and considering Sasha is scheduled to return on the August 13th SmackDown episode, which is before the August 21st SummerSlam pay-per-view event, it is highly likely that WWE will end up booking a rematch for the SmackDown Women's Championship between Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair for SummerSlam 2021. Now, as to whether or not Sasha Banks will be reclaiming her SmackDown Women's title from Bianca Belair when she returns remains to be seen, but one backstage report has indicated that it is quite likely Sasha Banks could be walking out of SummerSlam the new SmackDown Women's Champion. And in all honesty, this would be a pretty decent title reign for Bianca Belair, who had won the title all the way back in early April at WrestleMania 37. So if Bianca does lose the belt to Sasha Banks at SummerSlam, that's roughly a 4-month title reign for Bianca, which is definitely pretty solid. And compared to Charlotte Flair, who recently just had a one-day reign as the Raw Women's Champion, Bianca Belair clearly has a lot of support behind the scenes in WWE, and just because she will likely lose the title to Sasha at SummerSlam, her push in WWE is far from being over, and Belair will certainly get her hands on the championship again at a later date. Regardless, it is no mystery anymore, and it's now clear when Sasha Banks will be returning to WWE, and by all means, Sasha will likely get a great reception from fans in Oklahoma when she returns to SmackDown on August 13th. With all this being said, let us know your thoughts and opinions of Sasha Banks' advertised return to WWE on SmackDown in a couple of weeks. And do you think that it would be a good idea for Sasha to end Bianca Belair's SmackDown Women's title reign at SummerSlam 2021, or should Bianca retain against Sasha Banks when they rematch each other at the biggest party of the summer? We now have some very intriguing new rumors and speculation regarding Jon Moxley, formerly known as Dean Ambrose in WWE. While there have been rumors ever since Dean Ambrose left WWE in 2019 that he was essentially banned from ever coming back, as most of you are well aware, it is only business, and it has been stated that WWE are more than open to doing business with Dean Ambrose again in the future, should he decide to leave AEW All Elite Wrestling. Now, as many of you are probably aware, Jon Moxley lost his AEW World Championship to Kenny Omega late last year, and his IWGP US Championship to Lance Archer last week on Fyter Fest, and since that loss, a lot of fans are wondering what could be next for Jon Moxley, now that he does not hold gold in New Japan Pro Wrestling or AEW. Now, there have been rumors going around for the past several months that a return to WWE could be in the cards for Jon Moxley, aka Dean Ambrose, in the not so distant future, and apparently that is most likely going to be happening late this year or early next year, when Moxley's current AEW contract is set to expire. Now, while there was a clause in Jon Moxley's AEW contract that could have seen him leave the company at any point over the past year to return to WWE, Moxley apparently decided that the right thing to do was to fulfill his obligations with AEW and put over some of their aspiring stars, which he has, and then leave AEW on good terms to perhaps work out some kind of a return deal with WWE. Like we had mentioned before, Jon Moxley has stated in interviews that WWE is where the big money is to be made, and that he would consider a comeback if the right offer was presented to him. And according to one of our sources, with AEW reportedly signing both Daniel Bryan and CM Punk recently, Vince McMahon is more intent than ever before to get Dean Ambrose to return. And with AEW shifting the focus onto Daniel Bryan and CM Punk in the coming months, Jon Moxley apparently feels like his transition out of AEW and back into WWE will be smooth and not that big of a deal, as Moxley will have put over any wrestlers that AEW wanted him to, and with CM Punk and Daniel Bryan among many other former WWE superstars now in the company, Jon Moxley will not be as crucial for AEW to be successful. And with Moxley knowing full well that WWE can offer him more money, John is apparently wanting to return to WWE when his current AEW contract expires later this year. And considering Moxley will be turning 36 by the time he likely returns to WWE, this will be a good career decision for John Moxley, as he will be able to earn a lot more money compared to AEW, while also working less grueling matches and quite likely less dates per year as well, as John Moxley reportedly wants to begin wrestling part-time in the near future to preserve his health and well-being as he gets older. While John Moxley has not been on the best of terms with Vince McMahon over the years, it was recently reported by Renee Young that Triple H has kept in touch with Moxley ever since he left WWE, and was always reaching out to John Moxley to make sure he's doing alright after various injuries. So the bridge is definitely not burned when it comes to Dean Ambrose and WWE, and Triple H apparently wants Dean Ambrose back in the company as much, if not more than Vince does. Let us know if you feel a WWE return for Dean Ambrose, aka John Moxley, makes sense when his AEW contract expires later this year. And would this even be a big loss for AEW, especially when the likes of Daniel Bryan and CM Punk are signing with AEW? We should also mention that this could be truly perfect timing for Dean Ambrose to return to WWE, because with AEW likely shifting the focus onto Daniel Bryan and CM Punk when they debut, AEW would likely be moving the spotlight off of John Moxley anyways, and WWE would still be more than willing to offer Ambrose a huge money contract to return. Like we had mentioned in one of our previous videos, while Roman Reigns denied and turned down John Cena's challenge to a Universal title match at SummerSlam 2021, that dream match is still reportedly the WWE's plan, and fans should fully expect John Cena to get his Universal title opportunity at SummerSlam against the head of the table, Roman Reigns. However, while a lot of the recent rumors suggested that Roman Reigns was going to be defeating John Cena and retaining his Universal Championship at the biggest party of the summer, due to Cena having to leave WWE after the pay-per-view, with the new reports that have been revealed regarding John Cena's status in WWE, that may shockingly not be the case, and fans may have to get ready for a huge shock title change at SummerSlam. If he hadn't known, new backstage reports have leaked that John Cena will not actually be leaving WWE after SummerSlam, and is already being advertised for WWE events the following month in September 2021. And a new behind-the-scenes rumor has stated that Vince McMahon is strongly considering to have John Cena win the Universal Championship from Roman Reigns at SummerSlam 2021, to break Ric Flair's world title record of 17 title reigns. Although it likely will not be Roman Reigns who Cena pins to win the Universal title, as reports indicate that Finn Balor will likely be added into the match to make it a triple threat, and John Cena would pin Finn Balor to win the Universal Championship.